Testing microphones. Microphones testing. Hello.
Sharp cheddar cheese popcorn.
Sharp cheddar cheese.
Chomp. Super chomp.
Chomp that. Those. What is that? Mexican street corn Cheetos? They're delicious.
They are fantastic.
Pretty addictive. Recommended.
Oh, man.
Maybe we should just do a snack episode of Embassy Exclusive. We'll just talk about
Snacks.
no games, just snacks.
I bet there'd be a way to tie that into games. I mean, there are probably great like fictional snacks and things like that, and enough games that'd be worth talking about.
I mean, yeah,
Best snacks to not get your controllers all grody.
there are Chester Cheetah games, so I mean, we can literally just review those while we eat Cheetos.
I mean, that doesn't sound like a bad idea.
Are we podcasting here or what?
We'll start with some special brownies. Hello and welcome to another episode of Embassy Exclusive. This is a monthly supplemental show for fans of the VG Embassy Game Music Podcast. I'm Ed.
I'm Joe.
I'm Todd.
And each month we get together and share video game music, the latest news in gaming, and our completely independent and not at all reliant on a society designed to keep the poor man down opinions on both. This is episode 57 for June 2024. We hope you all enjoy it.
Glad we're not keeping the poor man down.
As poor and oppressed, I am the poor man. I'm being kept down.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry.
that's no good.
Sorry.
Anyway.
Single income family. Anyways, hi. How are you?
So,
It all stemmed from the completely independent, considering that July 4th is right around the corner and it's Independence Day, so it just got me. Independent from what, I say? The British? They're like a distant memory.
who needs him?
Who needs the British? I drink all the damn tea I want, thank you very much.
Do you drink tea?
I mean, I do. I also pay taxes on them, so the whole thing was for naught anyway.
Oh man, that's a great irony, isn't it?
It's just who we're paying taxes to. I don't like them either. Anyways, we're getting really off topic for the beginning of our show. Welcome back to Embassy Exclusive, episode 57. And we're here with a bunch of cool topics, some fun pieces of music to play. It's summer out, so we've been gathering together. Just had a nice outing at Joe's house for a little bit. We were going to do a fire, but it's been so friggin' rainy around here.
And hot.
Yeah.
Hard to do fires when it's hot.
We just hung out on the back deck and got eaten alive by mosquitoes, which is fun, but itchy.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys came over. That was a good time.
For sure. So you guys been... I know, Todd, last time you said you were doing a lot of outside stuff and weren't playing very many video games. Has the rain allowed you to get any more gaming time in?
Nope. The rain has forced me to do inside projects instead of outside projects. So
Fair.
I am getting a little bit of video gaming in. I'm still playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm taking more time with it than I thought I would be. Not in the way of like I'm taking my time and doing everything. I am doing that, but I'm also playing it in much smaller chunks. It has shifted from the first one in that it is more busy work than story, and busy work. By busy work, I mean like think the Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West series, where you're thrown into an open world and like here's a bunch of like map markers and stuff to do at each one and go do them. And then
Okay, so
when
like
you want to, you
very
can do
open world.
storyline stuff.
Yeah.
Rebirth seems to be taking a tack closer to that, and not that I don't like it, but I liked the mix of storyline and like adventuring that the first one did better. That's just my opinion. So I don't mean to say that I don't like it. I am very much enjoying it. I did like the first one better. At least that's where I'm sitting now.
That seems to be kind of a more modern way of doing things, where like Grand Theft Auto 5, Spider-Man, they all kind of had this like, here's your sandbox. We're going to tell you where the storyline missions are, but we're also going to dot the entire map with all these, side missions. And you can kind of... I like it when they tell you which ones are the main storyline missions. That way you can kind of like either spread them through or just do as many side quests as you want, as possible, and then do the storyline afterwards. I like to kind of mix and match them.
And to be fair, Final Fantasy does that.
Yeah,
you can go to the main storyline whenever you want.
No,
My fear with something like Final Fantasy, which is an RPG, in doing that is like when I do a side quest or I do a task on the map that that is available, you get an item or a piece of equipment or some experience or whatever. And all of those things, I'm like, well, this, could be helpful, or, if I didn't do this and went on to the main quest, I wouldn't have it, or I wouldn't have gained those extra levels or whatever. And I'm afraid of being underpowered if I continue. And hopefully they balance the game in such a way where that's not really the case. But, the person who's been playing video games for 30 years in me, sees things that can be done and goes, I should probably do that. Like, what if there's something I need when I do that?
Or conversely, like you do too many side missions, and then the story missions you just breeze through. You don't even get to see all the boss's final attacks or whatever because you're knocking him out of the sky before he can even get started. So.
Exactly. So I'm doing them because that's what I do.
Yeah.
But I'm not concentrating solely on that game.
Yeah.
I'm play for a couple hours, do a couple of things, and then go work on my bathroom remodel.
Yeah, it's nice to do it at your leisure, so that's pretty cool.
I also started playing Unsighted on the Switch, which is a game that Joe recommended to me.
Oh, it's so good. I'm glad you're finally playing that.
And it is excellent. It is like a top-down sort of adventure action game. It's not really like a Metroidvania, which is the kind of thing that Joe usually recommends to me. It has a weird mechanic where, like, all of the they're robots, so I can't really say beings, right? But entities, I guess, in the game have a certain amount of time to live, and as you exist in the world, time is ticking down, and so it adds sort of a sense of urgency to playing the game, and it is something you can turn off. When they introduce that mechanic, it says if this makes you uncomfortable, you can turn it off. I haven't yet, although I suspect if things become dire, I might.
Can you turn it on and off at will? Like, can you just, or do you have to decide to do it before you start a game?
No. It says you can go into the options at any time.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool.
I started with it on normal, and then I got to a point where it just got really difficult, and then I said, all right, well, I'm going to turn this off so that, I'll say, pressure aspect of it is off, and I had a lot more fun with the game once I did.
Now, when your time runs out, you die, whatever, does the new character pick up, like, in that same universe, like everything's already done, or is it
like that's it, it's game over.
It's permadeath. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and
so do certain things give you more time then?
There are items that you can get more time
all right,
with.
Because I'm like, if you have a certain amount of time, like, and you can't beat the game within that amount of time.
And what's interesting about it is you get this item, I forget what it's called, but it will grant 25 hours of additional time to any of the entities in the game. So not just yourself.
Gotcha.
There could be, somebody in a town that is, on the verge of running out of time.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to call it death,
time,
but
you
running out of time, and you can give them additional time. I haven't been playing long enough to know if there's enough of them to where you could I'm sure that people better at video games than me could, finish the game with the clock running. I'm less confident that I can.
Or you can hoard all the time for yourself, and then you're letting down the villagers, and that might, be a negative impact in the story down the line.
Right.
So people will start dropping dead and not being able to give you benefits and stuff. Cool mechanic. I like it. And I remember you talking about it's real time 25 hours, right? So it's like, does the clock still run even when you're not playing the game?
No.
Okay.
It's only while the game is on and you're playing.
But if you die, you lose time.
But it is an actual hour.
No, not an hour. An hour time.
I must have misunderstood what you were saying.
There is a clock that runs in the top corner, and it is definitely not like real life time.
Gotcha. Okay.
It is a good deal faster than that, but I wouldn't like it's not like zipping down at incredible speed.
And even turning it off doesn't turn it off; it just slows it way down to the point where it's not a factor.
Neat. Yeah, it sounds like a cool game, cool mechanic for it.
Yeah,
too.
It was an interesting idea, but I had more fun playing the game with that aspect of it taken out.
Well, it's also the mark of a good game that you can remove that gimmick and still have fun with it.
Yeah.
So,
But it's a phenomenal game, and I recommend it strongly to everybody. Great puzzling, great action adventure game, great bosses, great, very rewarding to find like secrets and things like that in the game. Yeah,
I might check it out myself. Cool.
Glad you're finally getting around to it, Todd.
Yeah, me too. It's fun.
What about you, Joe?
I took a little break from Rogue Legacy 2. I'm on the last level, and I'm finding it very difficult. And rather than just, I'll say, burn out and end up hating the game or just really just play it too much all at once, I decided to move on temporarily to something else. You had recommended Deep Rock Galactic Survivor to me, and I'm all in on that one. I'm probably like 15 hours in this week alone. I'm guessing I'll burn out on that one relatively quick once I, try to do a couple of the mini missions, and basically once I get to the point where I've beaten all the bosses and the only options remaining for me are to try it again with a different character or a different weapon or to try to do it faster, I kind of lose interest fast, and I am getting to that point. I beat all the main missions, and even this week they patched it to put in new content.
Yep, I've got some bones to pick about that too.
Yeah, I don't especially like the new content, so I'm probably going to be done with it within the next week or so. I mean, it's fun, and I like it for what it is, but it's not the kind of thing that I'm going to be playing for another 20, 30 hours of gameplay.
Well, I really like the new content itself. Like, I love single weapon mastery, which is one of the things that they're doing. But I had the game 100% in. I had everything. I had the whole skill tree unlocked. I had all the levels built or beaten with I had all the milestones unlocked. And because of the new things that they added to the game, where they have these giant orbs that you need to unlock, and they basically take the place of currency, they refund all your money. And now to buy the same stuff back that I already earned, you now have to pay some of the steps up on this tree with these new orbs. So now I can only pay as much as I can without the orbs, and I only get half of my stuff back. And so now I have to play through this new content, get the orbs so I can get back what I already earned before the update. So I was shaking my fist. I mean, it's good motivation to play the new content. Like I said, I wanted to play the single weapon mastery stuff anyway, but it was just really, really annoying because now my characters are just nerfed.
Yeah.
So now I have to go to Hazard 2 or 3 instead of the Hazard 5 level that I was playing at. And my characters are slower and they mine more slowly, so it's a little annoying. But, I like the game enough that I don't mind playing it again. I'm just I would rather have them added new content that I could play with all the stuff I earned rather than
forcing a reset, essentially.
Yeah, forcing a nerf and then having to go back through everything.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how much into the new content I'll get. I'll probably play it, like I said, for a few more days and then go back to Rogue Legacy 2, see if I can't finish that, and then I'll be looking for something else.
Cool. I am so aside from Deep Rock Galactic, which I just started a couple days ago because that's when the patch came out. I'm getting really into Nordic Ashes, which is I played a track from it on that Survive Vermup show that I did last October, which is a really good game. I wasn't super into it when I shared it on the show because it was still brand new. Now it's out of early access. They've kind of got their gameplay rhythm down, and it's a lot of fun. They made it a little easier to get weapon power-ups and stuff. But there's the gimmick with this one is that there's just so much stuff around the map to go and collect. And there's statues and stuff. And some of them where you'll need to purchase items with either gold or with the, blue gems, the experience points, or you have to sit in a small circle for 35 seconds in order to earn whatever's in that statue. So they give you different kind of things around the map. Different little challenges within the big challenge to get more powerful, which I really like. So for a Survive 'em Up connoisseur like me, it's a good gimmick to keep me going. And then I got back into SnowRunner again. I realized it had been since November of last year since I'd even booted the game up.
You keep chasing that dragon.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was just all right, I'm finally at the point, I kind of got burned out on it. And I was I'm finally at the point where I miss playing it. And they just released the next season, and I hadn't even finished this map yet. So I'm all right, I'll get through this map to see how I'm doing, and I'm loving it. I rediscovered it again, and this new map isn't that hard.
He's back in it, folks.
Yep. So it's pretty easy, getting all the missions and contracts done. So having fun with that, and that's about it. Nothing really new, just jumping back on some old games and having some fun with them. I think that's going to be fun. Also looking forward to, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Nintendo Direct and some of the new games that came out and are coming out. but I did get Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, which is the only Luigi's Mansion I haven't played yet, just because it came out on a handheld, and I'm not super big on handhelds. So
That's a fun one.
Yeah, looking
I
forward
played
to getting through that one.
For 3DS back in the day. Or
Yeah.
back in the day. What was it? It came out, what, like 10 years ago, give or take?
It's back in the day. It's back enough in the day.
Is that fair to say? I played that when it came out. It's solid. It's exactly what you expect it to be, and if you're a fan of the series, then you get exactly what you're hoping for with this game.
Looking forward to doing that. I'll probably start on that this weekend if I have time. So there's that. Speaking of the Nintendo Direct and Todd's topic, you want to start off with some music, sir?
Yeah, my track is The Vestiges from Unsighted, the game we were talking about a few minutes ago. This was released on everything current in 2021. Composer Fernanda Diaz.
Sweet.
All right, welcome back. That was The Vestiges from Unsighted, released on everything in 2021. Composer Fernanda Diaz. Excellent track.
Yeah, pretty cool tune.
And an excellent game. Everybody play it.
Is the whole soundtrack similar to this?
No, there's some, environmental or ambient stuff. Some slower tracks. There's a couple, bangers like this. Yeah.
Cool. Kind of garage rocky with some sweet keyboard leads. It's fun.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
My topic for today is actually sort of thanks to Ed. I was kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel, and I'm like...
Floundering, if you will.
And I'm like, what can I do? I thought about actually talking about the Nintendo Direct, but I thought that maybe the hype had passed. The Direct was, maybe a week or so ago now, and, the internet was kind of on fire about it for about 24 hours, as it does, and then moved on to other things.
But we're not the internet.
But we are not the internet.
We're a cadre of well-informed, intelligent, Nintendo-loving VG Embassy fans.
We are in the so-called meat space.
Yes.
If
IRL, y'all.
If anybody is as old as we are and remembers the term meat space, Ed has
AKA
helpfully
IRL.
typed out Ed has helpfully typed out the names of all the games that were on the Nintendo Direct, so we can either go out and down the list or just pick ones that were interesting to us. Of course, right off the bat, Metroid Prime 4. A little bit of a surprise. I was starting to wonder if we were ever going to see anything about that again.
I'll believe it when I see it.
And Joe is skeptical, even though we showed him the video of it.
I was always, usually with directs, I'm very skeptical about, and everybody's always like, spamming in the chat, Metroid Prime 4, Metroid Prime 4. But I was like, they specifically said ahead of this one that they weren't going to show anything from like the next console, the Switch 2, whatever you want to call it. And I was like, well, the June Nintendo Direct is kind of like the quote-unquote post-E3 season, so there needs to be something big. And I was like, if there's going to be anything big, and it's not going to be the next evolution of Nintendo hardware, I was like, Prime 4 is probably the most likely candidate. So when I did see it, I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense to me.
But they didn't announce it for like this holiday season, or...
No.
They didn't even, if I remember correctly, they didn't even say specifically that it was for the Switch.
They did not. It did say 2025.
It said
on the
next
trailer.
year, which it is plausible that the Switch successor could be out next year.
Well, Nintendo's been kind of famous for doing a dual release on a big game,
Right.
like to kind of usher in the new console.
Right.
So Metroid Prime 4 might be that. We might get a dual release. Or if it's backwards compatible, they'll say like, oh, you buy it for Switch, and then it's got specific enhancements for whatever new hardware, double frame rate, extra resolution, or shiny ray tracing, whatever.
The trailer definitely made it look like it would take a lot of processing power. And I'm
the
skeptical.
environments are small, though. So that's what I was kind of noting, is that everything's kind of enclosed. Like, the frame rate was decently high, but it wasn't like there was a whole... It wasn't like, Breath of the Wild, where you can see off into the distance forever. I think polygonally, if that's a word I can use, it seemed relatively low, even though it looked really nice. I just think they spent a lot of time really optimizing and making simple environments look really, really good.
Is it Retro developing it? I imagine so.
I believe so. It didn't really say, but I think that's who it was.
Because, they have been pretty well known to
I think it would have been
eke
bigger
out
news
every
had
little bit of
anybody else.
processing power from Nintendo's hardware.
Yeah, I think it would have been bigger news if anybody else had been handling it besides them. So, anyways, but it looks pretty good. It's got some third person, some first person.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. That is something that I know others, at least in your Discord, have been waiting for a long time.
Absolutely. Especially
Especially when Nintendo announced that they were basically scrapping it, starting over. It was like, okay, are we ever going to see this thing?
Yeah.
And finally, some signs of life.
The trailer makes it look great, and if it ever does come out, it'll be a day one purchase. I'll believe it when I see it.
Joe the Eternal Skeptic.
The Eternal Skeptic.
It's how many
when
years
he can
has it
hold
been?
it in his hand.
No, I know it's been a lot of years, but I don't think Nintendo can get away with not releasing it at this point.
Oh, I know, but it
And
it
not
says
at this point.
2025, but do they mean December 2025, which might end
December
up being,
31st,
I mean,
11:59 p.m.
yeah.
If they were going to scrap it, they could have just never mentioned it again. And, it was even at the point now where people were like, well, there was that one like logo on that, what was it, a direct or whatever, 7 years
I
ago.
saw that.
But they said they scrapped it and they were going to start over. Nothing ever really happened. So I don't know. Maybe they stopped. I don't know.
Just come out with Federations 2.
right.
They'll burn Nintendo headquarters to the ground.
Anyway, Metroid Prime 4
Yep.
looks great. Can't wait for it. But what else do we have in this list?
We got Mario and Luigi Brothership, which was what kind of kicked off the whole video.
I love the Mario and Luigi series, so
Yeah.
I'm really happy that's getting another game. I've played them all, I think, although one hasn't come out for quite a while. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
It looks good. I mean, it didn't seem to have anything super groundbreaking, just more combo attacks, but it just looked like it had a good, fun story, and
Yeah.
the writing on those is usually pretty awesome.
Usually
so.
good, and even the battle mechanics, despite being effectively turn-based, are usually like really like interesting and different for a turn-based mechanic, and they kind of
Makes them feel a little more active.
a little more active, right? You can like jump over things or duck things or whatever, or hit them back in some cases. Like, yeah, those are fun games. So I'm looking forward to that. The Nintendo World Championships NES edition. I don't know about that. It was, showing our favorite classic NES games, and it kind of showed like speed runs of them. I don't know if it was like just small areas of the game or the entire game.
Yeah, I think what they're going to do, it's going to be kind of like the NES remix, but encompassing the games more fully, where you can, and it's not just speedruns. I think there's going to be different challenges where get a certain amount of points in this segment of the game, or jump on this row of Koopas as many times as you can, bouncing it off the wall, or stuff like that. But then there will also be the ability to play the NES game in its entirety and try to either get high scores or do the fastest run or compete against ghosts of your friends or other online people and stuff.
I'll have to see what happens when we get closer to the game's release, or if more information comes out. But the video suggested to me that it was really just like competing against other people to like speed run or perform an action or whatever.
I think that's the feature that they're pushing, but I think there's going to be a lot more single player stuff too.
That just suggested to me that like I was going to basically play the game, and a lot of other people were going to excel greatly at the game, and I'm just gonna be like, oh, here I am playing Super Mario Brothers, yeah,
and you'll be on the list like 25,000 down.
Exactly.
Like,
so I mean, we'll see what happens in that respect.
Yeah.
But it hasn't grabbed me. I like the concept. I loved the NES retro or retro NES games or whatever those.
The remix.
The remixes. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Those were excellent, and I would love to see more of that kind of thing. And maybe that's what this will be. But
yeah, I think it's gonna it's gonna have that spirit. I'm really surprised they never brought those remix games out for the Switch.
Yeah,
they kind of
or made more of them.
Yeah, they kind of languished on the Wii U and never really went any further than that. So.
Such a disappointment, because those are so much fun.
Yep.
Anyway,
Fairy Tail 2. I don't even remember much about. Fantasia Neo Dimension. That was the new RPG from the Final Fantasy creator and Nobuo Uematsu is how you say his name now.
Pumped for that. I at least want to hear the soundtrack.
Yeah.
I'll eagerly be looking forward to that to be released so I can listen to the game first.
And then
honestly,
exactly.
and then maybe I'll get around to playing the game. But I without question, will want to listen to the entire soundtrack.
And that had that weird mechanic where you can save enemies to fight
later
instead of encountering
like at
them.
the same time. Like you can sort of build up like a group of enemies
put
to
them in
fight
this
all
little
at the same time.
pocket dimension, and then you can face however many you've put there afterwards.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, maybe it'll be good. We'll see.
They're running out of RPG ideas, I think. So
well, certainly for turn-based combat.
Yeah.
Let's see, basketball for Switch Sports. Memories in Orbit. I don't remember what that was.
It was kind of like
about.
an action RPG-ish kind of thing. Didn't really strike me as much.
Disney Mystery Illusion Island update. Okay, Hello Kitty. Looney Tunes Wacky World of Sports. Not that I'm interested in the game, but I was a little surprised that they dug up that franchise, that license, to make a game out of. Like, I don't think we've seen much out of Looney Tunes other than like DVD releases of the cartoons for quite some time.
Sometimes they do that to rekindle interest in the brand because they have something coming up. Maybe a movie coming up or something at some point.
They did a Daffy Duck game back in the N64 days, but has there been anything since then?
Well, there was a new Space Jam, wasn't there? There was a game based on the newest Space Jam.
Okay.
There have been a couple things, but they've just been like kids games, like shovelware kind of kiddie games.
Well, maybe this will be decent.
And Hello Kitty Island Adventure looked kind of like Animal Crossing a little bit, so my wife is kind of interested in that. She's not a huge Hello Kitty fan, but she likes kind of like that whole Sanrio world, so she was kind of down for that. New Among Us stuff, whatever. Farmagia, Farmin'.
That looked it looked kind of like a cross between Pikmin and like one of those farm sim games.
Yeah, like Harvest Moon meets
Pikmin. You
thing.
farm your like your the animals or whatever that you're going to fight with. Pikmin effectively.
Your Pokemon analogs.
In this analogy, Pikmin, you're farming Pikmin, and then you use them to fight monsters. I don't know. Maybe not for me, but could be interesting.
You'll scratch that Pikmin itch for folks that want more of that stuff.
Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. I would have preferred a new game. I love Donkey Kong Country Returns, or Donkey Kong Country, I should say.
Yeah,
but I don't think that Returns is old enough now. I mean, maybe it's just because like it's on the Wii and it's been The Wii hasn't been the current system for a while. That
Wasn't
they're
it
like,
also the game that everybody complained about because there was too much waggle?
Oh, was there? I don't remember.
I think there was like they were really going for like, shake the controller to jump instead of actually just pushing a physical button. So
also maybe they're trying to.
It might
fix
be
with
better that this is HD plus if they add more traditional controls, because there was actually because obviously you can hack the Wii. There were like patches made for the game to use regular like controls instead of waggling to like play it in a more traditional way. That's how much people didn't like it. So
it wasn't Pro Controller, or not Pro Controller. What was the Wii Pro Controller called?
yeah, it was called the Pro Controller.
it was Pro Controller, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it compatible with that?
No.
Oh,
no,
okay.
they were like demanding that you like
Waggle.
shake to jump and like
Use the Wiimote.
yeah.
Because that's what Nintendo does. They
You
make
like do the vertical wiggle to jump and then the horizontal waggle to attack.
Pass. No
Yeah.
one,
Because that's what
no wonder I
Nintendo
never
does.
played that one.
So
they make you use their gimmick.
right. So it might give people an opportunity to actually play it with a traditional control scheme, which is nice.
Okay, fair enough. I retract my statement. I still would have liked to see a new game.
Fair.
Dragon Quest 3 weirdly being released before Dragon Quests 1 and 2, which I don't fully understand, but
They look
that's
good,
what's
though.
happening.
I'm psyched
it looks
for this
great.
one. I love the Octopath style animation and drawing, and the gameplay looked great. I never played the original. This will be my opportunity to.
Cool.
I'm psyched about this one. This is probably the game I'm most looking forward to on this list.
Funko Fusion, not really something for me. I've never been into the whole Funko Pop thing.
No, it looked like that Lego Dimensions game where it's just a whole bunch of like different franchises all kind of smooshed into one.
Yeah.
And the gameplay looked very similar. It was like basically kind of a rip-off of those Lego games, which
Right.
Lego games are fun.
They are
but-
fun. But there's a trillion of them.
Yeah, and I don't know if Funko's really going to make a dent in that market,
We'll see.
just because there's so many Lego things, and that brand is so much more recognizable.
Right. Luigi's Mansion 2.
Already got it, so that's cool. That came out a couple days ago.
Denpa Man?
Yeah, I don't remember what Denpa Man was. Obviously wasn't.
Obviously
that.
did not have much of an
I
impression.
guess we'll find out on July 22nd
I guess we'll
whenever it
find
releases.
out, yeah, in a few weeks. Metal Slug Attack Reloaded, which, the name Metal Slug sort of piqued my interest, but then it turned out to be, weirdly, a tower defense game,
Tower defense / deck building game.
which,
Yeah.
kind of turned me off to
Joe's
it. So
interested.
Joe,
Wait, say
Joe,
what?
Joe has become
I didn't see
immediately
this one.
interested.
You have my attention. Deck building and tower defense?
Yeah.
Those are two of my favorite things. Is this... when I saw Reloaded, I thought it was just a remake of one of the older Metal Slug games.
No.
I'm gonna
So that
have
might
to
be
check
something
that one
you're
out.
interested in. And then
It
there's
comes out today. Oh, man.
Then there's the Metal Slug Ascension, I think, which
Well,
Utopia
today
Game
is like
was-
the day of the direct a week or so ago,
Oh yeah, so it's already out.
so it's already out.
Cool.
Well, podcast over. Joe's going to go home and play this
I have to go do
a thing.
something.
I have to go metal my slug.
I'm going to go to the bathroom now. Hold on. I'm definitely coming back.
It's actually out on mobile, so you can just download it on your phone right now.
And Joe will be silent for the rest of the podcast.
Exactly.
What?
Darkest Dungeon 2, which I bounced right off of Darkest Dungeon, so this is not one for me.
I wanted to like that game. I wanted to like it so much. It thought it would have been right up my alley. All the game recommendations I get suggested this was going to be up my alley, and I just couldn't get into it.
Same. I actually bought it
I found
because
it-
of how interesting it seemed, and then I played it for like a half an hour, and that was it.
Yeah, that's about all I made it, and it wasn't intuitive to me, what to do and how to progress, and
Yeah.
so I didn't have fun, and so I bounced off of it.
I'm curious to see if maybe they cleaned that up a little bit. Maybe the second one doesn't necessarily, don't necessarily have to have played the first one in order to do it, and they've streamlined things a little bit. I don't know.
New old games on the Nintendo sanctioned emulators: Zelda 4 Swords, Metroid Zero Mission, Turok N64, Perfect Dark.
Yes, and that actually reminds me that I
Love that game.
did get the disassembly of Perfect Dark 64. Basically, how they did with Mario, where they did like decompile the cartridge data and like basically recompiled it into a PC game. They did that for Perfect Dark now too. So you
interesting.
get like 60 frames per second, like full resolution, mouse and keyboard controls, or twin stick standard game controls. I tried it. I played the first mission, and it's awesome. Like it feels like the N64 game, but it's got all the trappings of a modern first-person shooter.
Wow.
So I'm excited to actually play it, because it's always been one of those games on the N64 that I've been like, I could probably get into this, but I just I hate the controller. I hate the frame rate. I hate the blurriness. And this
Right.
kind of solves literally all of those issues.
You
so-
are in for a treat. This
Yeah.
is a great game. I put so many hours into the N64 version until I finally beat it on the hardest mode. That was, back in my high school and college days when
Yeah.
I was more likely to just try it again on a harder mode and see if I could get more stuff and finish all the side missions. And I love that game.
Cool.
I can't wait to see the improved version.
Yeah, I wonder if this would actually work on the Steam Deck too, where you can, just get a handheld,
That's not
a
a bad
modern
idea.
version of it. It is compiled for, the version I have is compiled for Windows, but they might have one that compiles for the Linux flavor of Steam Deck. It'd be pretty cool. New Phantom Brave game.
Marvel
Wasn't too into.
I'm not even sure what that is.
Yeah, me neither.
Marvel vs. Capcom.
Fighting Collection.
Which is definitely not for me, but I know is exciting to a lot of people.
Sure.
That's not my...
That's just a collection of all the arcade games.
Basically,
Yeah.
I think so.
Everything up to, it was from Marvel Superheroes all the way up to Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Okay,
So,
cool.
there's good 5 or 6 games there.
There's a place for that.
Yep. New Mario Party Jamboree, which looks cool because it's actually going to have online for a change, so you can play with your friends, which I really like. And then the new Zelda game, which we haven't mentioned, but you're actually playing as Zelda.
As Zelda.
And your power is that you can clone items and use them to get around the map and stuff, which I thought looked pretty cool.
Which sparked a lot of interest on the internet for the CDI Zelda game, where the only other game where you play as actual Zelda.
Exactly.
People started mentioning and talking about that and playing it on Twitch a lot as soon as this was...
I didn't realize it got that trendy because of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, for a few days, but they were like, look, the other Zelda game where you play as actual Zelda.
I don't care for the art style. I know it's the same as the Link's Awakening remake, but it's a Legend of Zelda game, so I'm going to play it. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun, and it'll be good. I kind of wish it was in a different art style, but, well, hopefully the gameplay is what I'm expecting.
Yeah, just squint your eyes and pretend it's more realistic or something. I don't know. What else we got? Just Dance Plus, whatever.
Lego Horizon Adventures, which is which, speaking of Lego, we were just mentioning that a minute ago. Interesting to incorporate the Horizon series in a Lego game. I don't know where that came from.
Is that what they're doing, or is it just a different...
No, it's actual Horizon.
Oh.
Like Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon...
It's basically like the game in Lego form.
Yeah, in Lego form.
Different. Okay.
You've played Lego games before, right?
And I've played the Horizon
And you played
games,
Horizon,
they're
so...
incredibly different.
Yeah,
well,
right.
Maybe you can get your daughter into it.
Maybe so.
You can introduce her to the world of Horizon. And
I need to play Forbidden West first myself. Pick that up for PS5, and I'll give that a shot.
Cool.
One of these days.
Stray, which I loved, but I don't need it for my Switch.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be pretty nerfed on Switch too. So as far as visuals go, I much more recommend playing it on anything else.
However, I strongly recommend playing the game on whatever platform you choose.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see, Tales of the Shire, a Lord of the Rings game. Oh, this is like the you're Bilbo or some other Hobbit, and you build your Hobbit hole space.
Right, it's kind of Animal Crossing-ish. Got some mini games in it. Very kid-friendly kind of a thing.
Interesting to some, perhaps, but not for me.
Yep. Ace Attorney Investigations Collection, which is cool because it's got at least one of the Miles Edgeworth games that never made it out over here, fully translated into English.
It did say there was an Ace Attorney prequel game that never...
Yeah, I think it was a Miles Edgeworth game, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. While they were saying that, they were showing Edgeworth on the screen, so I thought that might have been it. But I've never played those games before, to be honest, and whatever footage I've seen has looked interesting, so it might be one of those things that I try out at some point. Are there any Ace Attorney games on the Switch at this point, or has it only been like DS and 3DS?
They did a collection of the Ace Attorney games. I think it was on Switch.
Oh, okay.
But it is just ports of the DS.
Gotcha.
Is it just DS, or is it also 3DS? I don't remember. But the handheld games.
Gotcha. So I wonder how this is different than that then. Different games, maybe? Who knows? The 100 line, I don't remember what that was.
I don't remember what that was either.
We'll do a quick search. So I think I remember...
We're pausing for internet research.
Yeah. I think I remember seeing a little bit of something about it. Oh yeah, anime, swordplay, kind of like a.
Oh yes, I don't remember this because I kind of skipped past it.
Yeah, it wasn't anything that I was super interested in.
Yeah, it's not something for me.
Kind of got like a No More Heroes vibe, but I think there's like 100 different heroes or something. I don't know. And then Romancing Saga 2, not too interested in that one. Nope. Too technical for me. And that brings us to the end of this show where they showed off Metroid Prime 4.
The whole Metroid thing and blew everybody's minds.
Yeah.
And then said bye.
I mean, overall, I think it was a really strong direct. Like, there are a bunch of games in here that I mean, it was definitely interested in.
It was, 40 minutes, and I probably am interested in half of the games that are there on some level.
I really wish that Nintendo would stop just rehashing their old games over and over again. Like, there's, like 3 remakes on here? Like, they could have... I would rather have had 2 original games than 3 remakes, or even 1 new original game over 3 remakes. Like...
Yeah, I kind of hear you. I mean, I guess the Luigi's Mansion 2 port makes sense because, you know, as you pointed out, the reason that you want to play it or you haven't played it before is because you didn't want to play it on handheld.
Right.
So that kind of makes sense. And the Donkey Kong Country one, if what you say is true, I don't remember the waggle on it being that irritating, and I was pretty intolerant of the waggle when it was forced on me a lot.
I remember that.
That's what we say about Todd. Intolerant of the waggle.
There is no waggling Todd.
No waggling me. But I guess if it was a problem, it makes sense to remake it.
Yeah. Hashtag no waggle.
Hashtag no waggle. Great. Now this is a thing. So I think that's about it.
All right, no waggling Todd. All right, we're going to beat this into the ground. Yeah, so overall, like I said, great direct. Worth looking up all the videos, folks listening, if you haven't seen them. All the stuff that we just talked about, there are trailers, at least a minute long, for every single game that we just mentioned, and they're obviously all over YouTube, or you can just kind of Google search Nintendo Direct June 2024, and there'll be a bunch of sites where they just kind of like list all the videos in line that you can watch to your heart's content. So, this is why I like E3 season, because you get all this cool stuff. And there's a lot of stuff to look forward to for the holidays. But I think that brings us to the end of this segment and on to Joe's. Joe, what are we listening to tonight?
Our track is A Trip to the Alivel Mall, or Alivel Mall, from Kirby and the Forgotten Land, released for the Switch back in 2022, composed by Hirokazu Ando.
Oh, I think it's Hirokazu Ando.
Oh, I took it from Moby Games.
Well, Moby Games messed up. Anyways.
Hirokazu Ando.
Here we go.
And we're back. That was A Trip to the Alivel Mall from Kirby and the Forgotten Land, released for the Switch in 2022, composed by Hirokazu Ando, Jun Ishikawa, and Yuki Shimooka. Fun little track. You didn't have to know it was from a Kirby game to probably guess that it's from a Kirby game.
Oh, yeah.
if you haven't played this one, it's exactly what you expect it to be. It is Kirby in all of its bright, colorful, fun, not platforming, but like world adventuring glory.
It's like the Mario Odyssey of Kirby games.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I highly recommend it if you're into any of the Kirby games. There's tons of content, and you could just sort of have fun and play it casually, a level at a time. And so give this one a try if you're into Kirby. But the reason I picked this track is because of my topic today, which I'm calling Little Buddy Mode. I've been playing video games with my kid lately, and that got me thinking, what games do you like playing with your kids? Whether they're your own or a niece or nephew, what would you most like to play with a kid to teach them, like how gaming works, to get them into it? What parts of a game do you play when you're actually playing with them? What parts do you let them do? So when we would play Kirby, my kid would try to, beat the levels and fight the bosses, and my job would be to collect all of the coins and things like that so I could unlock new weapons and, do the harder parts, and she would just have fun, exploring and, trying out the new weapons or unlocking everything in the sound test because she really likes, the music. And
girl after my own heart.
Yeah, no, when I unlock that, and when you open up a new world, you get new tracks and whatnot, and I like to just sort of sit there and listen to them with her. It's a great game with a wonderful, very stereotypically Kirby soundtrack. And if that's your jam, then this is a fantastic one. More recently, we've been playing Mario Odyssey, and I was going to pick a track from that, but we've done a number of Mario Odyssey tracks on this show, so I figured something from Kirby instead. I don't think you played anything from this game, have you?
No,
okay,
I haven't.
A different track from a different game. But yeah, like I said, right now we're doing Mario Odyssey. I'm sure you've all played that and are familiar with it. But Sarah and I do the same thing. I'll collect the harder moons in that game, and fight the bosses that she can't do, and then she gets to roam around the world and spend all the coins on new outfits, which is I think her
that's what they're there for anyway. So
it's fun, and she really gets into it, and that's how she's gonna. That's one of the things that as a parent, it took me a while to, I'll say, come around to, was that she's not going to have fun beating the game in the same way that I do. What she gets pleasure from in the games is
just experiencing it.
Yeah, experiencing it. Buying new outfits and trying them on and running around with Mario and playing the sound test and having fun with it. And if that's what brings her pleasure in the games, that's great. And if we can share the games together where I do it my way and she plays it her way and we both have fun, well, it took me a while to say to come to the mental perspective that why aren't you trying to beat the levels? She's having fun and I'm having fun, and that's all it should be about. And so we kind of bond over it.
Cool.
And that's been a lot of fun for us lately. So that leads to, well, as I said, my question: what games do you like playing with kids? Whether they're your own or a niece or nephew or a neighbor or a friend, or what games would you like to play, or what do you think?
Mario Kart, I think, is a big hit for something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Particularly once you get to the Wii version and you can hand them an actual steering wheel and let them
waggle. You walked right into it.
Yeah,
I suppose I did. We'll let them turn the wheel to turn and whatnot. But that one, I think, is usually a hit.
Yeah, Sarah and I play Mario Kart 8, and my job is to unlock as many things as I can and collect the coins, and her job is to just have fun. And that's another one we like playing.
And Mario Galaxy was great too, because one person could be Mario and the other person could just hold the Wiimote and collect all the star bits. And I think you could you could shoot the star bits at the enemies and kind of stun them. So if you're playing with a kid who isn't totally adept at it, you can kind of make the game a little bit easier for them. I don't know if you'd like it, Todd. There was a lot of waggling involved.
Do you want to? Are you looking to teach the classics too? I think Arkanoid might work because it's could teach prediction and timing, stuff like that.
Angles and stuff. There's a little bit of geometry involved there for sure.
It's not always that we play simultaneously. She can play for a while and hand the controller to me when she gets to a tough boss or something like that, or after she goes to bed and I'm just looking to game on my own. That's when I'll try to collect some coins or unlock new levels or do side quests or things like that I enjoy doing. And that way, the next time she boots up the game, she goes, "Oh, I got a new weapon," or "Oh, there's a new sound tester." Oh,
The weapon fairy came.
That world wasn't open before. Daddy, did you play? Yeah, I did. And I don't know that it's been a lot of fun gaming that way. So while Kirby and Mario Odyssey aren't especially difficult games, they are for her, and for me to, I'll say, go back and just have fun collecting coins and exploring is, I don't know, it's a new way to play that I had never really gotten into before. And I wanted to see, who else has come to that, I don't want to say realization, but who else has experienced gaming in that way.
So with Eddie, and I think Eddie might be like kind of a very unique VG Embassy community kid in like the collection of all of us, because he's, I think, the only one born like and grew up pre-Wii. So he grew up mostly on like PS2 and Xbox 360. I think most of the kids from the VG Embassy community are all Wii kids. But he started off on Katamari, which I thought would be great for him because it's just the 2 analog sticks and you don't have to worry about a whole bunch of buttons and timing. And so he loves Katamari and got really, really into it, or at least loved Katamari. Oh, actually, no. He was telling me a little while ago that he was interested in getting like a Xbox 360 emulator for the computer so that he can like re-download the old Katamari games that he grew up with and play them. That's like his Super Mario Brothers, basically.
The nostalgia begins.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then he jumped from Katamari like directly into we got the orange box for the Xbox 360, which came with like Half-Life 2 and Team Fortress and all the Valve stuff. So we got into that, and then he jumped directly into Fallout. So his gaming trajectory went from pretty simple to pretty hardcore, like really quickly. We didn't really play that many games together. I think we did Mario Galaxy together once the Wii came out because he was a little bit older. But he and I don't really play a lot of games together. With Logan, it was a bit different because he was more of the Wii generation. So we did a lot of like Nintendo Land with the Wii U. He was old enough for that. We played some Mario Kart together. Nowadays we play a lot of BeamNG Drive because it's like a sandbox car physics game, so we'll just there are a ton of maps that are like, a bunch of ramps with obstacles and stuff, and we'll just make our own games out of it. Start at the top of this ramp, we'll race down, whoever gets the farthest wins, whoever crashes the most, you get so many points, so we kind of make up our own stuff. He'll be upstairs on his computer and I'll be downstairs here, and we'll just be FaceTiming with each other. And he loves Vampire Survivors too, so we'll do the local co-op for Vampire Survivors, and we'll play 2 players on my computer down here, and we have a blast doing that. We also played a whole bunch of Lego games together, so I think those are the games that are like really cool to play with kids, especially Lego, because Lego, like, there's infinite lives. You die, you fall off the screen, you run out of whatever, hearts, you just pop right back up again, so you can continue that story and you can keep going, and then plus there's all that stuff to unlock, like Joe, you were talking about with Mario Odyssey with getting costumes and stuff. With Lego, there's always new characters to get, there's always new things to do and weird little cutscenes to see. So, like, find a property that your kid likes, give them the Lego game around it, and you're off to the races. They're great co-op games.
I never got into those, but I might have to give that a shot.
No, yeah, you should, man. They're really, really good, especially like co-op with kids. Highly, highly recommend the Lego games.
And there's a trillion of them, so just find a Lego game that is with a franchise that you like.
Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings,
Star Wars, like
Jurassic
it never
Park,
ends.
Star Wars,
Lord of the Rings, it just
cool.
It never ends. It never ends with those games, and now apparently Horizon.
Yeah, exactly.
So
totally,
there's no shortage of games to play.
Totally worth it.
And they're all basically the same concept. You go through
you
the story. There's silly things.
They changed up the formula a little bit with the very most recent ones, but for like a good almost 2 decade span, they were pretty much the same formula, just varying degrees of graphic fidelity and stuff. So I would recommend that for sure. We did get a bunch of input from our dear listeners, starting with Volt Supreme. Todd, you want to start us off?
Volt says, "It Takes Two, excellent game. One of my favorite games. It is enjoyable and interesting from start to finish. Not too tricky, with a gentle learning curve, although it is mostly a platformer. Although it's mostly a platformer, it touches on all kinds of genres. And it's co-op, so helping each other through parts is natural. Playing this with my non-platformer playing kids was a success. Being able to play with my non-gaming wife was even more impressive. Yes, I also played with this with my wife, and it is an excellent game.
Yeah, I do want to try this out with Mila because she's so weird about games. It's like she only likes really specific types of games, and I think this one might be the one for her too.
What's great about it is it really divides the responsibility between each player pretty much equally. There is like it's not like a lot of co-op games where one player who, let's say for lack of a better term, is better at video games than the other can take more of the responsibility in order to get somebody, get you through an area.
Yeah.
You both need to be able to actually do it. But it's not so incredibly difficult that it's going to be impossible for somebody who isn't experienced with it.
Both players feel important, which is good.
Both players feel important. Both players feel like they're contributing equally. And both players need the other one in order to advance. It's excellent.
That's cool. Sounds like it's very well designed.
Yes.
Awesome.
Next up, the Dyad says, my kids are the age that this issue comes up a fair amount. In my experience, I've had the most success with Mario Kart 8 and the steering assist and auto accelerate options. This let my kids start super early. I've also had good luck with Vampire Survivors multiplayer.
Nice.
Any game where you can spec yourself to be strong enough to let them do whatever they want and feel like they are winning. As they've gotten older, I've been picking up other couch co-op games. Recently, Shredder's Revenge is king. One last honorable mention for Unrailed. It's a great game that requires cooperation and communication to stop a train from crashing.
Oh.
It's on sale right now. Sadly, it probably won't be, though, by the time this comes out.
Interesting.
Never heard of that.
Yeah. If it's part of the Steam Summer Sale, then it'll definitely still be on sale, depending on where you got it. But that sounds fun, for sure.
We should check out a trailer for that.
Yeah. Vampire Survivors, again, is cool because even when you're playing multiplayer, it alternates who gets the power-ups. Like, so every time it's one experience bar that you share between both players. And when, you fill it once, you get the power-up. You fill it a second time, they get the power-ups. And nobody's like, again, running away with more gems and getting more powerful and being imbalanced. It's always kind of a shared experience. So again, with like It Takes Two, it's that same kind of good design there.
Cool.
Nemo says, when my kids were little, I started them off watching me play 8 and 16-bit games, which got them excited about playing. When I started playing games with them, the games I chose depended on the person. Most of the kids started off playing Sonic or playing Pang with me because they only used one button. However, my girls were initially skittish about actually playing any games requiring hand-eye coordination to avoid dying, so I initially looked for games that had lower stakes. I remember playing way too much Barbie on the Genesis with them. I am so sorry. The oldest daughter's first solo game was Celeste. She used the assists whenever she felt over her head and beat the game.
Wow.
You don't want something with too much hand-eye coordination?
And you choose Celeste?
Incredibly difficult game.
I mean, kudos.
It's a great game, but it's incredible.
Well, I'm sure the assists, help with that stuff too. My boys quickly graduated to games like Streets of Rage 2 and Gunstar Heroes, and there have been stints at playing the Virtua Tennises, Crazy Taxi, and Sonics on Dreamcast. However, as soon as I got some multiplayer games for PC, like Streets of Rage 4 and Gang Beasts, and they started playing Minecraft, they didn't want to have anything to do with the older games. I don't even pull the consoles or emulation out of the closet anymore. This brings up a really good point, and I think a lot of when we were younger, like say 10 years ago when Pixel Tunes were starting, and a lot of the friends that I've made in the community that are still hanging around VG Embassy before having kids were like, yeah, I'm going to start the kids off on the same systems that I had and play the same, just so they can learn the same thing. And it never works out. As soon as they see a commercial with 3D blazing shiny graphics, it's like the kids are just like, I want that. It just looks better. Like, it's more appealing. Like, there's a certain amount of fun that can be had with 8 and 16-bit games, but I think it's nostalgia glasses for a lot of us. We were able to see the fun because we were able to put enough time in them to dig it out of those games, where with kids, it's like they want that. We wanted the flashy stuff too. Like, as soon as the NES came, or the Super Nintendo came out, lots of people ditched the NES, Yeah. And we're just going back to it because it's nostalgic for us. But I just think, I don't know. I think I kind of considered it misguided at the time, maybe because I already had kids when people were still, starting off having them, but I just kind of realized that I do want them to have kind of maybe a historical knowledge of where video games came from. Like, my kids know what an Atari 2600 game looks like. They know the difference between NES and Genesis and SNES, but I never, withheld current technology from them so they were forced to play the stuff that I grew up with. This might be a little off topic for what we're actually talking about, but
No, it makes
it's
good
it's
sense,
a thing that I saw a lot of people talking about and never really agreed with. And I feel like the more I hear about parents who have tried these kind of things, it didn't work out very well for them. So
I picked up a rainbow LED Switch controller for Sarah to use.
Cool.
And I don't think I'd be able to hand her any other kind of controller for anything else now, because that's the coolest.
yeah. That's funny.
But I think that's a lot of what I was getting at with my question, is coming to a point where I could just enjoy a game the way she wants to enjoy it, rather than forcing what I think is fun onto her.
Exactly.
And that took like a mental adjustment on my part. At first I was like, man, no, you just gotta get good at it. You just gotta try again. No, you just gotta keep doing that over and over until you beat that. And like to some, I don't want to see her like give up too soon, but to some extent I want her to have fun, because that's what video games are supposed to be. And if we can bond over us each having fun in our own way, like me collecting the coins and her buying the outfits, and that's what makes her happy, then awesome. And that took a real, I'll say, like, adjustment for me to get to that point.
And what's cool about Mario Odyssey is that a lot of it does kind of include some of that retro stuff in there. So I remember when I was playing it with Logan, like we would get to those points where it was like Super Mario Brothers style stuff, and he's like, oh, this is really cool. And I'm like, oh, I can show you the game where this came from. Like, this is from the original NES game. And so when I turned it on for him, he had that context, and it meant more to him, and then he was more invested in checking it out than just, oh, Dad's going to show me these old stupid games, that it made it cool, I guess.
Begs the question, does Nintendo include those little snippets as a little juicy tidbit for us old people?
It's both.
Or is it is it like a sly little introduction to the classics for the youth?
It's fan service for us and a way to get the kids buying Nintendo Switch Online games.
Yeah.
It's kind of a commercial in a
and
sense.
They're brilliant at what they do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, when you have that much game history to fall back on, and they really did incorporate it really, really well into the Odyssey game.
Yeah.
So, I'm not, it didn't feel shoehorned in at all. It felt like a real celebration of where, Mario Brothers games came from and where they are now.
I mean, Nintendo has always done that. They've always included little hints from previous systems or games in their newer stuff. Like, that is
always very proud of their history.
Yeah, as they should be.
Yeah.
Are we? I assume we're moving on now.
Yeah, sure.
Chris Murray says, I actually have been doing a lot of this recently, as my kids are now 6 and 7, so they're right in the zone for starting to learn gaming overall. I've really enjoyed playing Super Mario Wonder, which has really great options and modes to allow kids to learn and improve. Example: Yoshi and Nabbit don't take damage, but they can't use upgrades, so they're still incentivized to improve in order to use the proper characters. It also offers some great basic mechanics, example running, timed jumps, use of environmental cues, etc. And I've been really enjoying seeing their own improvements. Separately, they are really enjoying Minecraft, which I've mostly let them do on their own, as I don't and have never played it. Minecraft being so popular right now means they're having some experiences which are similar to mine when I was young, like talking to their friends about their individualized experiences, getting advice and help from each other, etc., which has also been great, and also ensures that they can play without a parental fear of doing something age inappropriate because of creative mode or other ways to control their experience.
Yeah, Minecraft is really cool because it's just a creative sandbox, and like Chris is saying, it's just something that I've never played a single minute of Minecraft in my life.
Me either.
But both kids have played hundreds and hundreds of hours, and it's a game that I trust is not going to be like a harmful experience to them. Like, whenever they're playing Minecraft, they're learning and they're problem solving, and even if it's like they're invincible and in creative mode, they're still building something. They're still figuring out what resources they need. They're still figuring out what they need in their inventory to do what they need to do. So I've always looked at it as a very kind of enriching game to play.
Yeah, I have 3 nephews, and they're all utterly obsessed with Fortnite and Roblox.
Yeah.
To the exclusion of every single other game ever made ever. Mm-hmm. I personally don't get it, but they seem to get quite a bit of enrichment out of it. And they learn how to beg for money quite a lot.
Yeah, Logan and Roblox is like an issue at this point. He plays so much of it. But Eddie and Logan both really like to play Fortnite, and they're both kind of equally good at it. So it's a cool way for them to bond because they've got, this game in common that they can both play together, which is cool. And Fortnite, again, it's so popular, there's nothing really offensive about it. It's, people shooting each other, but it's all very cartoony violence, and it's, I've never been one to subscribe to, violent games make violent kids anyways, so.
Right.
Next up, Scott McElhone writes, I taught my 3 boys Mario Kart on the Wii a few years ago. At the time I had a PS4 and didn't have a Switch yet. I know, super late to that console. But they absolutely loved it. I bought more Wiimotes and racing wheels on eBay, and we had 4-person races. It was great to see them learn. Then I got the Switch and Mario Kart 8 and took it up a notch. Now they all beat me. My work is done, although now showing them the world of Worms Armageddon, and they love it.
Worms is actually a really good game to play with kids. I never really thought about that, but that's fun because it's, again, turn-based, and there's a lot of, cool problem-solving involved. If you have it on PC and you're technical enough, you can dig into the game's files, and because all the worms say little, cute, voicey things as they, aim at each other and die or whatever. Some of the earlier Worms games, they're just, regular old WAV files in there. So I remember back in the day when one of my ex-girlfriends and I were playing a lot of, I think it was Worms Armageddon on the PC. We re-recorded our own voices and just substituted the file names. So we would be yelling at each other on the screen as we played. We had our own teams. Awesome. It was a lot of fun, and it kind of made everything feel a little more personal. So I wonder if you can still do that with the current Worms games.
I did that with Warcraft 2 back in high school.
Yeah, probably around the same time. That's cool. And didn't take that much effort either. I mostly replaced
in-game music back when you could do things like that, when in-game music was just a series of WAV files or something, or MP3s even in a folder somewhere with 9 Inch Nails albums and stuff.
That's the way to do it. I used to load up Ridge Racer because it loaded the whole game at once, and then just slap my own CD in there. And I wouldn't always start from the beginning of the song, but you could race to your heart's content with whatever album that you put in there. So.
What was weird was with we're getting a little off topic here, but when games that did that played music off of a CD, knew how long a track was and would just stop playing when it reached that time.
Yeah.
Or would just keep playing into the next track when it didn't play long enough, and completely ignored the track listing on the actual disc that you had.
Yeah, I would take the table of contents from the original disc and just apply it.
And then just apply it to whatever you had in there, and damn, whatever you were listening to, it didn't matter.
I remember I had a Sister Machine Gun album, and it started. I put it in there when I was playing Ridge Racer, and it started playing the song I've never heard before. I was like, "What the hell is going on?" And I didn't. There was no internet back. This was early 90s, and there was a 0 track on it. So you start track 1, and then you hit the rewind button, and it basically plays an entire song that was before track 1, and somehow that's where on the disc the PlayStation started playing it from. So I was like, oh, this is cool. So I learned something new just by trying to hack Ridge Racer with new music.
I loved the little bits like that on CDs too, but anyway, we're getting way off topic.
Exactly. So back on topic, Red Hua says, I think the easiest game that has introduced my nephews and nieces to gaming, and the game I will introduce future nieces and nephews or my own children one day, are the Mario games. They will always withstand the test of time. They are masterpieces in game design and are family friendly. It continues to be the easiest gateway to introducing other games. The current trend among kids may be Roblox and Fortnite, but Mario, I think, helps with the introduction of games beyond your typical bandwagons, even if Mario arguably is a bandwagon itself, but for all the right reasons. Yeah,
that's fair.
Depends on how early in Mario you want to go, because I wouldn't recommend starting kids off with Mario 1. I think it's just too... Mario 1's controls take a little bit to get used to, for sure.
And like you said, it would mean it's more meaningful to kids today to play something bright and colorful and, modern.
Yeah. And I think Mario Galaxy is probably a good, halfway between those, where it's still kind of retro and classic-ish, but it's still got that modern aesthetic, where if you learn that game, you can play the modern games. You can also probably go back and play Sunshine and then Mario 64, and so you get kind of a good breadth of Mario games that you can experience fully.
Sarah's thing, and I know you'll appreciate this, Ed, is learning the music from all the Mario games so that she can, even though she hasn't played the game, she knows, oh, that's the beach theme from Mario Sunshine.
Oh, cool.
Or that's the racing, one of the racing themes from, Princess Peach's Castle in Mario Kart. And
Neat.
she just, like, her thing is memorizing where the music is from, even if she doesn't know the game.
That's cool.
Because I'll make a playlist and I'll play them in the car or wherever we are, and she'll, memorize the game and the track title, and just...
That's cool.
Yeah, that's her thing.
That's Logan with Undertale music. You play like three notes from any album or a remix, and he'll be like, yeah, I know that song. That's from this. It's like, all right, kid, you got it going on. All right, so thank you, everybody, for chiming in on that particular topic. Let's move on to our last topic of the show, which is from me, and my song to accompany that is Breakthrough from Blaster Master Blasting Again. This came out on the PS1 in 2000, composed by Satoshi Asano. I wanted to play something from the original Blaster Master, but Todd took that last episode.
Not sorry.
It's fine. This is a great soundtrack, so it's a good excuse to share it. Be right back. All right, that was Breakthrough from Blaster Master Blasting Again, released on the PS1 in 2000, composed by Satoshi Asano. Cool little soundtrack that doesn't get a lot of love on the internet, so I figured I'd throw it in there. I actually wanted to play a song from the original Blaster Master, but I had realized that Todd had chosen one last episode, so I figured, hey, this is the next best one. I did listen to the Genesis Blaster Master 2 soundtrack, and it's not very good. It's a very Gems kind of twarpy, farty kind of a soundtrack. So I was like, let's just move up the line of Blaster Master games to the next one. This happened to be it. And I did choose this song because it's related to my topic, which is, what are your favorite 8-bit hero sprites? There must be playable characters, and I'll be loose with the 8-bit part, meaning if you want to also delve into simple DOS or C64 sprite work, I'll allow it. Also, feel free to have some categories like best animation or coolest idle pose if you want to go deep and a little bit granular. I don't know, I think Miley came up with this one. We were kind of chatting about topics for Embassy exclusive episodes, and I really liked it. Because we don't talk a lot about art on the show, I think, very much, and there's a lot of really great, obvious little pixel art from the NES era. And I did play a song from Blaster Master because I think when I was a kid, and even now, I've always been really impressed with Sophia, the vehicle from Blaster Master, as a playable character. Like, I just think it has really cool animation. I love the way that the tires kind of like bounce smoothly, like the transmission and all that, and the suspension. And when you turn, there's an extra couple of frames that kind of gives it the illusion of 3D. Plus, you've got the animation on on the wheels and the turret. I don't know. It was always just a really cool character to control in a game, and very different because it wasn't a humanoid. You know, you're actually have this kind of cool jumping car. And I've always just liked vehicles in games. So it really takes the cake as like my favorite of all time, even though I haven't played Blaster Master 2 too much.
Well, how do you feel about City Connection?
The car from City Connection is really cool
It's really
too.
nice.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
especially when it turns and it's got that kind of like skidding on one wheel kind of a thing. I really like that.
That's done really well. I'm trying to think. Like I really appreciate smooth animation with particularly 8-bit sprites, or like games from that era.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of ones that like really strike me. And City Connection, while not a spectacular game for me, I really like appreciate that car animation.
Oh, for sure.
From that.
In terms of smooth animation, a runner-up for me was also kind of a cross between the Blob and the boy from Boy and His Blob. I think the animation in those games was really good. I think wasn't that Jordan Mechner? I think that was the same dude who made Prince of Persia. So there's probably a little bit of like ray trace, or was that David Crane? Maybe it was David Crane. I don't know. It was one of those popular British game developers. But there was some good animation there as well.
So this is something that I have lots of thoughts and opinions about. So we usually talk about video games, this being a video game podcast and all, but I'm really into board games as well.
Oh, yeah.
And over the years, I've designed and created a number of board games. And because I can't draw for crap...
Joe is actually Milton Bradley. He just hasn't told us yet.
Yeah.
Most of my artwork in my games tends to be 8-bit sprite work. And I've even gotten into some of the animation of it for some of the, I'll say, short cartoon, Flash-style cartoons I've made, which I think I've shown you guys before.
Yeah.
I have one that I especially like involving Quickman from Mega Man 2 and Alex from River City Ransom. And I use their different animations to show a battle between the two of them in a quick cartoon I made a long time ago. So I like those ones. But hands down, my favorite 8-bit sprite has to be Black Mage from Final Fantasy 1. And when a guy named Brian Clevenger, I think, created 8-bit Theater, the webcomic. That was like, oh man.
Oh, yeah, one of the first
ago.
webcomics. Yeah, I remember that.
With Black Mage as the main character.
Yep.
That just cemented it in place forever for me. It was always my favorite character in the game, and the personality that Black Mage had in the webcomic was just me through and through, and I loved every second of it.
Man, that's a blast from the past. I totally forgot about that.
Oh, I followed that. It came out 3 times a week for like 8 years.
Yeah.
And I followed it. Like, I was excited for Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays when they, just those days happening, because that meant there'd be a new webcomic.
Cool.
And, it was something I got excited about, almost like being excited for a TV show to come out on a certain day.
Totally get it.
And so, yeah, for me, hands down, if it's not going to be one of the ones I create or animate myself, it's got to be Black Mage from Final Fantasy. It's always been my favorite sprite character.
I mean, sure, if we're going to talk about the classics, any of the Final Fantasy characters, your Zeldas and stuff like that. The little character from Dragon Warrior, is not a particularly complex character, but has a strong nostalgia in my soul. It's like buried in there, so like, you're right. You're absolutely right. But and Joe's doing the walk from the character from Dragon Warrior. Very like mechanical and very like kind of jerky. But like I played those games so much, and I still replay them every once in a while. So like that sprite,
like the sprite from Bionic Commando. Like for me, like spent hundreds and hundreds of hours in that game. Like I can't even like. Just like the music in Bionic Commando, like I can't tell you if it's good or it's bad because it feels like home. So it's like it was one of those things where like, is your mom attractive? I don't know. She's my mom. Like, is this good art? I don't know. It's Bionic Commando.
They're not player characters, but I've always been incredibly impressed with the fighters that you fight in Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Oh yeah, for sure. Just the sheer size of them was like unprecedented,
right? Because they were huge, and I never fully understood how they managed to pull that off. And I know there's YouTube videos that like explain, but like I don't
Just a series of smaller sprites working in concert with each other.
Right, but like, NES can only handle so many sprites at a time. I mean,
Yeah.
if you've ever played a game where you've had like 3 characters in the same line and they start flashing, you understand
Or
that.
had the
And
MMC5 chip, which allowed them to make more sprites per line. So.
all right, well, whatever it is they did, they pulled it off, and it was amazing.
I made a perler bead Glass Joe as myself.
Oh,
That's right.
cool, yeah.
That's right. I've
I
seen
have it
that.
in my basement.
That's awesome. I did verify on my phone just now, by the way, that Boy and His Blob was indeed David Crane, so I was right.
You were right.
Not right. I don't know. But yeah, so that's a lot of that. I mean, I've always loved pixel art, especially like, I know we were just doing strictly 8-bit stuff here, but I might do another like 16-bit question like later on, because I'm sure we'll have a whole host of different answers for that. But
More Final Fantasy stuff.
Probably.
yeah, and just like, when I started, obviously I never had a Neo Geo when I was a kid, but just watching those games and seeing games like Metal Slug, where the animation and the art was just so incredible, it just really gave me a brand new appreciation for like, wow, this is really what can be done with video games. It made me look at all of the sprites weren't just serviceable as avatars for what you were doing. It actually felt like these are the guys that you're playing as. There's no imagination left. It was like,
And that's
we want it to look like this.
It's that draws us to go back to the earlier topic. It's that draws me to want to introduce Sarah to older video games. Not just like, I'll say the blocky featureless characters of like, some Atari games or something like that. But the idea of like showing her the very expressive, Metal Slug style animation characters, and that like, it's so cool, and we used to love it, and it was the best that you could possibly expect or ever hope for at the time. And
Yep.
I want it's that excitement from seeing that the first time that I want her to have.
Right. And it's almost impossible to capture, because for us it was pinnacle of technology. And
Yeah.
for them it's like watching a Charlie Chaplin film,
Yeah.
It's old. And it just looks that way.
Yep.
But I think the best thing to do is introduce it, not to introduce it to them as like, isn't this amazing? This is the best I had, because they can't conceptualize that. It's just like, here's a simple game that's lots of fun. Like, we're playing these indie titles together on Steam. This is what inspired those indie titles. Like, make them aware of where it came from, and because they're going to see a difference. So let them make their own opinion about it.
Yep.
Anywho, so got some great stuff there. And we've got some great answers too. I kind of read through a little bit of it, and everybody's got very different opinions on what their favorites were. So I think we'll just go around the table again. Todd, do you want to start with? Well, the messenger's got a very short one.
The messenger says, I always thought the kid from Treasure Master had a pretty cool walking animation. And
he
I
does.
That's fair.
He's got a really fun strut.
I can't pull this up in my
I will. I'll show you, because
my mind's eye.
Alex actually put a.
I was also thinking the character
GIF.
from Star Tropics had a pretty good
okay.
pretty good animation.
If
I remember correctly.
Didn't play much Star Tropics, but
What was his name? Mike, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where did it go? I think
I always liked his baseball bat animation. You only ever got like 4 swings with it before you would lose the bat, but I always thought that made you like look super cool as you were like.
There we go. Here's.
Oh yeah, I
okay.
remember that.
Okay,
That
yeah.
is the coolest strut.
It's a really
Yeah.
cool strut. Like, very simple graphics.
That
but-
guy is assured of himself.
Yes, and coupled with the Tim Fallon soundtrack to the game, that strut was a
Yeah.
very confident
I forgot
strut.
about that. That's awesome.
Nice job, Alex.
Next up,
Hold on, let me turn off Discord, because I'm getting a billion
You're so
friggin'.
popular. Ed. Why are you so popular?
I'm just a member of a lot of very active servers. Come on. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. The audience is loving this. All right, cool.
All right. Next up, the Dyad writes, for me, this is a toss-up. I really like the emotion that the artists are able to convey in chunkier, cuter sprites. So I'm between Gimmick and Kirby. I think I give the edge to Mr. Gimmick because I really like his concept versus just a pink blob. He's very expressive and has the smoothness of a late-era NES game. Ooh, good one. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, they're both circles of different colors with faces on them. So I guess we know. I guess we know Dyad's type.
So, Dyad, tell us how you feel about Adventures of Lolo.
That's true. It'd be funny if they were just like all in like a support group together. Blobs with faces, anonymous. Now there's a webcomic. Oh, man. Chris Murray says, I have a lot of favorite 8-bit sprites, but I'm going to go with a dark horse and pick Marth from Fire Emblem, Shadow Dragon, and the Blade of Light. It's the first mainline Fire Emblem game, so therefore is the first appearance of Marth, who becomes a constant throughout the series and makes a lot of cameos in other franchises, for example Smash, which is the only place I know him from. He's a classic fantasy trope, a reluctant leader as a prince who is thrusted into being king by his father and sister being betrayed and or sacrificing themselves. Some Game of Thrones shit there.
That old story.
But a great model of his character type, and I'm a sucker for classic sword-wielding hero's journey tale. And he uploaded a sprite sheet for us. And it looks, pretty detailed and actually pretty mature for a NES game. Kind of like very thin limbs and some cool like wind going through the cape animation and stuff.
Were those Japan only?
The first Fire Emblem games, I believe so, yeah.
Okay, I was going to say, I don't remember that being an NES game.
No, I think there are... Because
I would have been all about it.
Yeah, because Fire Emblem games are so popular now, I'm pretty sure there are English fan translations, but yeah we didn't have them when we were kids.
Oh, I would have loved that as a kid.
For sure. And the last up?
Scott McElhone says, Guybrush Threepwood from the original DOS version of The Curse of Monkey Island. Does that count as 8-bit?
I did say that PC DOS was... Simple DOS was a,
I'll allow it.
Fair enough. Where was I? I'm a super fan of the entire series up to the recent Switch title, but none hold a candle for me to the original Sprite. My first point-and-click adventure game as a kid, and it hooked me. Plus, such a likable and goofy character with amazing text lines. Bonus for NPC, the crook from the Scum Bar?
Yeah, the Scum Bar. Because Scum was the engine that made the game, so there's an actual bar in the game called Scum Bar.
Okay, I have a confession time. Not played the original Curse of Monkey Island games, so a lot of those.
They're very fun.
A lot of those are lost on me. I've mentioned a couple of times that my wife are slowly working our way through the old point-and-click adventure games. Seventh Guest, and we played all the Space Quests and stuff. So we'll get there, but we haven't played them yet.
Gotcha. Notably absent from this episode is Ryan Steele. He did say he was going to write in, but he was not able to do so in time for recording. So, Ryan, if you're listening and you want to post your answers up on the Discord in the public area, we always love to hear what you have to say. So that goes for the same for anybody. Like whenever a show comes out, if you didn't get a chance to chime in, or if you didn't have any ideas and some of our discussion sparked some ideas in you and you want to chime in with answers to your questions, like we're totally happy to chat about them.
Keep the conversation going.
Exactly. Especially after, I always love when people chat about our episodes after they come out and kind of give their own opinions on it. So feel free to do so. We're coming up on the end of the show here. And we did just get VG Embassy uploaded to the iHeartRadio network, which is also a huge podcasting network that is kind of like invite-only kind of a thing. So I've got enough episodes out now that they allowed us into their exclusive club of podcasts. So if you do the iHeartRadio app, you can find the VG Embassy on there, as well as all of the other Embassy exclusive episodes that are on the public feed. And don't forget, we've also got our YouTube feed as well. So now every episode is a YouTube video that also has text transcriptions along with it, and all the regular show notes and everything. So that's just search the VG Embassy on YouTube, and you'll find it all. There's a separate playlist for Embassy exclusive stuff, and a playlist for the VG Embassy episodes proper as well. So easy way to kind of differentiate between the two. We're coming up on Retro World Expo as well. That's going to be at the end of August, so a couple months from now. It's looking like Justin from XVGM Radio and I have gotten approved for a panel. I'm not sure which day it's going to be, but if you're interested in coming up that weekend, reach out to me for sure. I can help you get set up with accommodations. There's a ton of cheap hotels around here. I'm about like 40-50 minutes away from the venue, so I'd be happy to carpool, here and back to the expo. I think we'd have a lot of fun with doing that kind of stuff. So And Todd might be coming. Joe might not be coming. But we'll all have fun.
I'm not good at
Regardless.
crowds.
That's fine. Todd's undecided.
I think I'm going to make it. I need to make sure that I can, but I think I'm going to be able to go.
Even if you do like a one-day thing and we just, let you know which day our panel is.
Yeah.
We might do like a video recording, so just have you like babysit the tripod or something,
Right.
with a video camera, as usual.
As usual.
But yeah, it'll be a ton of fun. And we also just hang out here, depending on how many people come up. If we've got a lot of folks, usually we just hang out down here at the old VG Embassy studios and play video games and chat and eat pizza and stuff. So it's always a good time. You can find us also on Patreon at patreon.com/thevg Embassy. And as always, I'd like to thank all of my Patreon patrons at the end of every show at our TERS level. Cameron Shiles and the Phantomire, our VG Embassy series, Periodical, Chris Murray, Claire Myers, Gannon11, Keyglyph, Kyle Kroll, The Dyad, The Last Rican, and Professor Tom. Our audio attaché members, Cameron Worma, Carlos, Muddle Madness, Robin Purnell from Rhythm and Pixels, and Scott McElhone. And of course, our special agent, Ryan Steele. I'd like to thank Jason Letourneau for our podcast theme song. And we'll be back in another 2 weeks with a VG Embassy episode. I'm not sure. I've got like 3 or 4 ideas for the topic for next episode yet, and I haven't completely figured out which one. But suffice to say, it'll be cool, like every VG Embassy episode is. Joe and Todd, thanks for hanging out, as usual. We had a lot of fun.
Hey, guy.
Bye, guy.
Bye, guy.
Bye, guy. We'll see you later, guys. And then we'll be back 2 weeks after that with another awesome episode of Embassy Exclusive. Keep listening to Awesome BGM. We'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
Chomp.